When the Sinister Six seeks to reform itself once again, Spider-Man will have no choice but to join forces with Mary Jane Watson, aka Jackpot. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 46, and find out what happens next together, shall we? Alrighty then, so as we jump into this brand new story, I am already incredibly confused. The Sinister Six have decided to once again reconvene under Dr. Octopus, and no, I don't know why. Ock is seemingly a bad guy over here, but trying to be a good guy over in his own book, The Superior Spider-Man. Likewise, I don't know why the Kraven clone is on the Six again when last time we saw him. He was actively trying to help Spider-Man and seemingly had gotten over his Spider-Man obsession by the end of that story. Geez, it's one thing to not get right stuff that happened in other books, but now Wells is forgetting stuff he's written. Stranger still, Doc Ock says that this new version of the Sinister Six will never be complete without Sandman, despite the fact that there's been lots of different versions of the team without him. Can't they just, sub in Shocker or someone? Apparently not. Of course, Flint Marko is currently locked up in the mind of William Baker, and William Baker is currently locked up inside Ravencroft. It's actually Max Dillon Electro, of all people, who elects himself to go break the Sandman out of prison. Honestly, given the special focus Electro was given in this issue, I thought this was his big return from the dead issue, only to remind myself that Kindred had actually already resurrected the original Electro back during the Sinister War event. It's just that got drowned out under all the other bullshit that happened in that storyline. Now from there we actually transition on over to Peter Parker, who is currently in the process of getting reamed out by Michelle. You'll remember her. She was Beetle's friend and Tombstone's lawyer. They met at Randy's wedding, and for a second there it actually looked like Peter was going to start dating regular people again. Only Peter had a moral objection to her work, and now he's getting yelled at on the streets of New York like this was Karen Hill or something. But wait, here's a twist for you. Unlike how he's behaved over the last couple years, Peter actually wasn't being a dick in this situation. He really doesn't have any idea asking her out on another date. Meaning that someone with his face and voice, quite possibly a renegade clone, is screwing with him right now. This situation is pretty awkward, but what really kicks it into overdrive is that Mary Jane Jackpot was actually watching and ended up seeing the whole thing. Only get this, the two actually end up having a real deal conversation about their old romance and how it all fell apart. Holy shit, is this even legal? I didn't think Mary Jane and Peter were actually allowed to talk to each other anymore. My god! The conversation itself is nothing too special or earth-shaking, but at least they're moving in the right direction. Mary Jane says that she's actually quite supportive of Peter getting back out there and dating again. And despite everything that's happened and everything that they've said, she always has been rooting for him. Furthermore, Peter says that he wants to get himself back out there again, but it's just hard getting over her. And for what it's worth, Mary Jane actually agrees. She says it took her a very long time to get over Peter too. The only difference is she had 4 years in an alternate dimension to do it. Well, it's all still very fresh for him. Now, while all that's going on, we transition on over to Ravencroft Asylum, where we once again see Aunt Anna, who's actually doing pretty damn good in this place. She's just so sweet, caring, and motherly to all the other inmates. Including Sandman William Baker, she's ended up making a lot of friends. In fact, she's basically the mayor of Ravencroft right now. This sweet little Lifetime movie scene, though, ends up getting interrupted by Electro, who comes crashing in to try and break out Sandman and the other inmates, because let's face it, at this point, Max Dillon's only real great claim to fame is those times he uses his powers to overload generators and get people out of jail. Spider-Man and Jackpot can see the explosions from where they are, and as such they swoop into battle to try and defend the hospital and its inmates, including Anna. Spider-Man's not afraid of Electro, him having defeated him dozens of times throughout his career, only here's the problem: Max comes packing some brand new tricks courtesy of Dr. Octopus. Like learning to electrically stimulate his own muscles so that he can break out of Spider-Man's webbing. It's here too we actually get a pretty good look at Mary Jane making use of her Jackpot powers. Which, if you don't remember, basically she messes with probability fields every time she uses the little slot machine on her arm, which gives her a brand new, completely random set of powers. Like in this case, Jackpot is gifted her own set of mechanical tentacles to do battle with Electro, which is ultimately pretty bad because, hey, you know what conducts electricity? Metal. Spider-Man actually proves to be a little too protective of Mary Jane during the fight, tackling her even though she was just going to let go before she ended up getting zapped. With our two heroes down, it's actually Aunt Anna who ends up standing up to Electro herself, and when it looks like Dylan is going to electrocute her, the other inmates actually come to her aid. Damn, man, Aunt Anna got real respect here in the pen, man. She's a real deal shot caller. After getting rushed by the likes of Whirlwind and the Human Fly, Spider-Man ultimately ends the fight by just simply pushing Hippopotamus on top of Electro, knocking him out. Still probably not the most embarrassing way Electro has ever been defeated, and just to really put some icing on this cake, when the guards and authorities start asking who stopped the breakout, all the inmates unanimously agree that it was Aunt Anna who did all of it, meaning that she ends up getting off scot-free with good behavior. Why, she even takes home a flower that her and Sandman made together in Garden Club. All in all, things actually seemed like a pretty happy ending here, but of course, because this is a modern Amazing Spider-Man story, we have to undercut anything good that happened. Pete and Mary Jane admit that they made a really good team out there fighting crime, but that they can't make this become a regular thing because they still care too much about each other, and that's going to affect their choices during dangerous situations, and there's a good chance it could get them both killed if they're not careful. Also, that plant that Sandman gifted Aunt Anna, here's the thing about it. That wasn't any regular dirt, that was Flint Marko, who had actually managed to take control of William Baker's mind, create a sand clone, and then use the pot to escape prison. It's after that Sandman sees fit to also liberate Electro from police custody before, as the comic comes to a close, the Sinister Six is finally reunited. And so that was Amazing Spider-Man issue number 46, everyone, and overall I thought this issue was not too bad at all, actually. In fact, taken together, this and the previous issue actually made for a pretty solid little two-pack. I said it before, but it bears repeating, these two stories actually feel much closer to what Zeb Wells probably wanted to write on Spider-Man before he ended up having to service a dozen different events and editorial mandates. I thought Ravencroft actually made a really fun setting for a Spider-Man story. I loved getting to see loser villains like Whirlwind and Hippopotamus actually get the spotlight and actually get humanized through their friendship with Aunt Anna, another character who basically never gets used ever. Hell, I even loved the idea of Peter and MJ actually getting back together, not as romantic lovers, but instead as actual crime fighters teaming up. It could have actually been a really cool way to see them as equals and to see them actually grow and change the relationship in ways they weren't expecting, but no, this issue basically says we're not gonna do that. Because this is modern Amazing Spider-Man and we're not allowed to have nice things in this book. Case in point, the next issue looks to be dealing with Chasm and Hallows Eve again. Barf, barf, barf. Overall though, I would actually give this one a 7 out of 10. I think this two-pack of stories is actually a really nice change of pace, and if the whole series had actually been like this, then I think this run would be much more appreciated, critically at least. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.